So hey everyone, thanks for joining today. I think it's awesome you guys are all here. So today we're going to talk about self-esteem and self-concept, and I don't think that there's anyone out there that doesn't need a little work on self-esteem and self-concept, right? I know that I struggle with it. I think everyone, even like the most beautiful woman in the entire world, has issues with the way she feels about herself. So yeah, I think it's something that it's always beneficial to be thinking about and working on. And in our society today, we have a lot of negative inputs out there. The media pushes a way that you're supposed to look, and there's a lot of pressures on us as high schoolers to perform to a certain academic standard, and it's hard not to compare yourself to others. And so we just want to talk about ways that we can use our own self-esteem to boost our own self-esteem and use it in a positive direction to set good goals for ourselves. Okay?
Great.
Cool. So first thing I want to talk about, I know I had you all fill out the consent forms, so that's the first thing. I also want to talk about just basics of group, working in a group. Have any of you ever worked in a group before, like this? You have? Okay, great. So you're probably pretty familiar with this stuff, but I just want to go through a few things that we all need to be aware of, just how to conduct ourselves. So one is, confidentiality amongst each other. So being confidential, you expect that from everyone else, and they should expect it from you. So if someone says something that shouldn't really be repeated, shouldn't leave the group. So what happens in the group stays in the group. Okay. Also, we share our feelings and experiences, and we don't try to give advice to other people. This isn't about hey, you should do this, you should do that. We're just trying to talk here. Okay. About some things we can do, and we can talk about ways that we want to move forward, but it's not about trying to help one particular person. And then we each share the responsibility for making the group work. So if one person is extremely talkative and one person is extremely quiet, or half and half, the group doesn't really have a good dynamic. So we all want to work together to try to make this work. Okay? Mm-hmm. All right. And then we also want to give everyone an opportunity to share. We have the right to speak and the right to remain silent, so you don't have to talk if you don't want to. We want to give supportive attention to the person who's speaking, so if you don't want to be on your iPhone while other people are sharing something that's meaningful to them. Okay? We want to avoid interrupting. You have the right to ask questions and the right to refuse to answer that question. Okay? And we don't discuss group members who don't show up. And then we also just begin and end our meetings on time. So this is going to last 20 minutes. It's just kind of an introduction. We're going to be doing 3 of these meetings, and we're just going to be talking, like I said, about self-concept and how to build a positive self-image for ourselves. Okay? All right. So with that, I want to start off with just kind of a really basic it's like a survey, and it kind of gives me a good gauge of where you're feeling right now. We'll repeat the survey at the end and just see if if any of the stuff we've talked about has helped you. Okay? So I'll pass one out to each one of you, and take your time and go ahead and fill it out. Like you guys are all done? Okay, cool. So how many do you guys feel like self-esteem is an issue for you?
A little bit. Depends on the situation.
Right.
Probably depend on the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. There's areas that we have, high self-esteem, and there's areas where, we might not feel as comfortable about ourselves. Do any of you guys know the difference between the idea of self-concept and self-esteem, and what the difference is between that? It's okay if you don't.
Maybe it's self-concept is how you see yourself, and self-esteem is kind of like your worth.
Right. I think that's a really good way of putting it. So like, self-esteem is definitely your overall opinion of yourself. And self-esteem is kind of more of like, I feel good about myself. Like I'm putting this value on myself, right? Can you think of a good example of like what self-esteem, like putting a value on yourself?
I'm worth more than my boss pays me.
Sure, that's yeah. No, right. Like I'm monetarily worth more than I'm getting paid by my fry cook boss, for sure. Absolutely. Right, or like I am. It doesn't have to be positive either. Some people put really negative values on themselves, like it can be like a negative self-esteem value?
I can't do any pull-ups. I'm not physically able. Like, I don't think of myself as a capable person. Extreme physical activity.
Oh, gotcha. See, that's a good one too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, it's those feelings about yourself is that the self-esteem where, I have, I feel good or I feel bad or I feel incapable. Now, self-concept is a little bit different. And the difference is the self-concept is really actually like, I am a fast runner. I am, it's an action thing. So it's something where you innerly know that you're just putting this judgment on yourself. That's how you actually feel about yourself. So your self-esteem influences your self-concept. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So, maybe Jessica, can you think of an example of like a self-concept that you might hold about where you are right now?
I guess it's kind of with the self-esteem thing, but I am a good mom.
Right.
Teen mom.
Teen mom. That's being a good teen mom is an amazing accomplishment. I mean, it's really hard to do. Your task is difficult. And yeah, you are. You are. You know that you need to be. You are. You're making it. So you're not. You're actuating that. Right. So there's a lot of things that kind of feed into our self-concept, and self-concept isn't something that we can just wake up one day and be like, you know what, I'm a fast runner, right? Or I am this, or I am that. Your self-esteem is something that feeds into that. And there's lots of things that feed into your self-concept. Can you think of anything else that kind of feeds into how you see yourself, besides how you feel about yourself?
Feedback.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like, what's
Pats on the back.
Right, either positive or negative, how other people kind of treat you in the world. Yeah. Right. Would you say that kind of feeds into your like self-image, like kind of how others see you, how you see yourself, and how you see others see you, right? Mm-hmm. Can you so what are the things out there that give positive feedback to us? Like, is there something uniqueness that definitely feeds in who you are and to being exactly who you are, right? So obviously, what makes you different makes you who you are and gives you your own set of personal strengths. Right? So, and that's going to be different for each of us. What our strengths are. Some people are creative. Some people are, really methodical and rigid about things. I'm always envious of people who are really methodical and rigid because I am not. But it's okay because I am creative and flexible and all over the place. So. Cara, do you have any kind of, I'm sorry, Carla. I just saw your name again. So, do you have anything about you that's a particular, personal strength that you, from your differences that you're able to pull on that makes you,
I think that I've always found myself to be a pretty independent person. That's maybe a strength, but also, weakness at times.
Absolutely. I mean, it's funny because someone said that to me once, of that, your greatest strength is also your greatest weakness. And, sometimes it's funny because we can put so much emphasis on the things that, that we are, right? Mm-hmm. And then we can end up, I am independent, and yeah, you end up pushing people away from yourself, or, you don't ask for help when you actually really need it.
Yeah.
Totally. That's a really good point. How about you, Jessica? Is there something what's an inner strength that you have?
I guess I kind of think of myself as like relatable to a lot of people. Like, I try to like be down to earth, like not like judgmental, and like get along with all different kinds of people.
I would say that about you for sure. You definitely are. You're very easily approachable.
Yeah, I think I try as hard as I can to not judge anyone, like the understanding of people and like their situations, and everyone's different, and everyone has like always has something crazy going on, or like, I don't know, just not to judge people.
Yeah.
At all.
So on the positive side of it, you're like really non-judgmental, and you're there for people, and you listen, so like, is there anything on that? You're just kind of playing off of what Carla said about Carla said about your personal, your strength being your weakness. Like, is there a way that great part of you can actually sometimes hinder you?
I think I'm very judgmental of myself.
Ah, so all the
I'm
judgment
really hard on myself.
Yeah, totally.
Like really bad.
Opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I can see that.
That's something I have to work on all the time. It's not like...
Right. Well, we're all our own worst critics, right?
Yeah.
Which is, for sure. It's hard to ever see, how great you really are. I wish I could see myself the way other people see me sometimes. Like...
It's like when you hear yourself talk.
Totally.
Yeah, it sounds so bizarre.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so spotlight on Kat. What's your personal strength? What is the thing that makes you that you do so good?
Pretty brave.
Ah, yeah.
So yeah, I am not afraid to try anything, just about. Which, as you said, can be a weakness.
Right.
I'm not always capable of doing anything. I think I can.
Which is kind of what you said earlier about, you're like, when I keep trying and failing, right? Like, but hey, you tried. Like, a lot of people see something that they would fail at and never, ever even attempt it, so that's pretty awesome. So, yeah. You put yourself out there, high risk.
Yes.
That's great. Okay. So, Crystal.
Yes. I would say that mine, after sometimes I think being the last one, is that I'm good at loving people. And I thought of that actually when you got to the weakness part of it, because I think it's like both the strength and one of my bigger downfalls is that I have struggled in my life to like draw the line between where you're loving someone and where you're like either enabling or taking on things that you shouldn't, or
That is awesome.
I think it's both a strength and a weakness. And I used to think that I should change it about myself, that it was something I needed to stop doing because it was leading me to unhealthy places.
Change. We don't have to, whatever your self-efficacy is at this point in your life, and will change. And all these things will kind of, ebb and flow. And so what we want to do is try to give ourselves some tools and equip ourselves with ways to be able to, when we're feeling down, and when we feel like, oh man, I don't believe I can do that, right? Try to give ourselves some tools to pick ourselves back up. Right? So, which I'm glad you said journaling, because that's what we're gonna do. So, next week I'm gonna give you each a journal, and you feel free to, write your names all over it, draw pictures, doodle, whatever you'd like. And I'm gonna pass them out, so you each are gonna get a journal. And on the inside cover, I just want you to write something. You can think about it for a second, but just write something about yourself that you really like. No one else is going to read this. This is only for you. No one reads the inside of your journal. So now you're going to close your book, and we are going to flip our journals over, and we're going to just pass it to the next person. And again, no one's going to read the inside of your journal. And we're going to write something on the back cover, a compliment about that person. So you might want to write I'm going to write your name on the front of this, okay?
Okay.
Oh, you can read them. You can read them. Okay. So we're kind of running, we're getting low on time here. So basically, thank you so much, everybody, for sharing. This was really just to kind of open the gates. We'll talk a bit more about all this stuff next week. And so your journal. I have instructions. You can write whatever you'd like in these, first of all. They're yours, all right? I'll never ask for them. They're yours to keep. But, and like I said, they're super duper high class, as you can see. So, what you're going to do is, something that I've always found is that when I wake up in the morning, or anytime I look in the mirror, I have a tendency, or people have a tendency, to kind of see their negative traits first. So what I want you to do is, every morning, until we meet next week, you're going to wake up, and you're challenged, when you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning, to come up with 3 compliments for yourself.